student he first interacted sitting near to him, Dinashri. Come on, it's your time for your question.
It's fine. Whatever they want. पानी थोड़ा कम कर दो. बस ठीक है. You don't need it. Thank you for inviting me.
Welcome, sir. It's my pleasure.
So, sir, my name is Dinashri. I am from first year BSW, School of Social Work. So, I am here to tell about Kalaripayattu. Kalaripayattu is shortened as Kalari. So, Kalari is divided as two parts. So, first is Tekkan and second one is Vadakkan. That Tek means south and Vadak means northern style. So I am following Vadakkan style. So
they're two totally different styles.
yeah.
Are there commonality between them or not at all?
What's it?
Is there commonality between the two styles?
There is common and there is a little bit different.
Difference also. Okay.
So Kalari is not only the use of weapons like urumi, some blade items, and shield and shield, sword and sword. So it is also a practice to make our body flexible. So can I show some?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. If you are interested, you also.
First, let me see what you're doing before you trick me into.
So, sir, first I am showing Guru Vandana. So in Kalari, we are starting Guru seeks Guru's blessing. So,
Right.
Okay.
Venu, you're going to join? Huh? Dean, you want to join?
And floor. And then we then we seek our permission from our Guru. So, did you want to join with me?
Do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but I'm not going to do it alone. So, Dean, you also please come. Venu also come.
Oh, yes. I have one question, you sir. So, uh, very energetic person, you know. Um,
But martial art I do is completely different system.
okay.
You want to try some of that?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, what is your message to the younger generation who loves, who interested in martial arts?
Most people who do martial arts, um, it's explained as self-defense. You know that you're trying to defend yourself from somebody who's attacking you or some sort of a threat. But in fact, martial arts is not that. Martial arts is about discovering yourself and about understanding how you react to different things. So I think it's a very powerful thing, and there are many different ones. By the way, it is said that the mother of all martial arts is Kalari. I don't know. I do Japanese martial art. Actually, I do two Japanese martial arts, and both of them would say that there's a lot that they have got from Kalari. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
I hope you loved it. It is something very celebrated in Kerala, Kalaripayattu. So we started with that. Yeah.
But in Kalari, you need a lot of flexibility.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so I'm not that flexible.
No, you are.
I'm not that much.
No.
In the martial art that I do, you don't need so much flexibility.
But we were
So she's very flexible.
Yeah, love that you enjoyed. So next, can we go with the next question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please. So
You're in charge.
Yeah, I've given the in charge.
Blank check. Do whatever you want.
Yes. So next, we'll go with Steffi. Steffi is here. Come on.
Namaste, Ragulji. My name is Steffi Shaji, first year BSW student. Your flexibility is so good. And your flexibility is so good. And I ask just one question. So you have to closely connected with the peoples of Kerala, especially as a representative of Wayanad. And what is your perception about Kerala and its people? And what role do you think the youth of Kerala can play the shaping of future in India?
I spent 5 years being a member of parliament from Wayanad. And I used to visit Kerala a lot before that. But I had never actually gone in detail about Kerala. And I had never really tried to understand in depth what Kerala is. And I learned a lot from the people of Kerala and also the people of Wayanad, especially the people of Wayanad. I was very surprised when I first arrived there. There was a big landslide and a lot of people had died. And I was very surprised at the reaction of the people to that landslide. In fact, I was very impressed by it. Because even people who had lost everything, they were more interested in helping other people. So it was quite amazing to see that somebody who's lost his family, lost his house, he's interested in helping somebody else. And it didn't matter what community that person was from, whether they were rich or poor, what religion, none of that mattered. It was that there's a problem and all of us have to get together to solve the problem. I found that to be a very powerful thing. I think you have a very old tradition here. Before coming here, I went to a function commemorating Narayana Guruji. And you have a very deep tradition here, your own history, your own traditions that are very valuable to the rest of the country. And you should always operate within that framework, within your tradition, your culture, your language. There's a lot to learn from the outside world, but you must always be rooted to your own way of life, your own tradition. And then you can learn things from others. Of course, you people have made us very proud. Wherever you go, I've traveled a lot in the Middle East, and the only thing one hears about the people of Kerala is praise. You never hear anything negative. You're always hearing praise about the work you do in hospitals, how you look after people, the respect. So that's very nice. That's very nice to hear. I've also dealt with, sometimes my mother falls sick. We take her to hospital, and then there's the Kerala nurses there. So I've dealt with them directly also, and I know their magic. So those are the type of things that Kerala brings to the country. I'm quite impressed by your auditorium. When we were in college, when we were in school and college, we didn't have these chairs, these comfortable chairs. Huh? Very, very nice facilities here.
Thank you, sir. It's a great happiness to hear so. So can we go with the next?
Yeah, you don't have to ask me, just
Yes.
go.
Okay. So yeah, he spoke about Kerala and we are more energetic now. So next we'll go with Angela. She's here. Yeah, come on. It's your turn.
What's her name?
Angela. Angela.
Angela. Angela.
So good afternoon, Rahulji.
Good afternoon.
Myself, I am Angela. I'm a first year student at the Bachelor of Business Administration department here. So you have spoke about Kerala, and thank you for speaking about us. So my question is that you have been here, you have been in Kerala for 5 years, right? So I think you will be familiar with Malayalam. Can you speak some Malayalam?
I mean, I'm not familiar with Malayalam at all. I can say Nandri. But I'm not particularly good at picking up languages. My sister's the expert in picking up languages. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I don't know if you guys remember, but a few years before, there was a very famous clip involving Rahul Gandhi, and the clip was Taire. So in summation, he was in a village. That's crazy. He doesn't remember this because I remember this so vividly. In fact, we were talking about it in the mess hall yesterday. So can you say that again? Can we recreate that moment?
I don't remember it properly, so you tell me.
Well,
I have a lot of memes done about me, so I don't remember them all. I got some good ones and some bad ones.
well, what's your favorite one then?
I don't get into really. I'm not a big person who gets into looking at memes and what sort of. I don't like looking at myself on camera. It's not.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But I guess by the end of the session, we will definitely recreate
Yeah.
a meme, to make our college more famous, make this event more memorable. I should have blurted that out. Anyways, moving on to the next question.
What is like a sentence which you often hear in Kerala? Any Malayalam sentence which you often hear from anybody? Any word?
Generally I will speak in English, and most of the time I'll have somebody translating. So mostly it's much more emotional contact than what people are saying, right? So it's physical contact, emotional contact, more direct love and affection than what is being transmitted by words. Yeah.
Great insight. It means that language is never a barrier.
Well,
Yes.
if you know where to look, it's not a barrier.
Great.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. So
In fact, you see, I used to be told this, and I never quite understood it. But actual communication between human beings happens outside language. It happens in how you meet each other, look at each other, how you connect with each other. That's much more powerful than the language that you're using. I wouldn't have believed that. I mean, I wouldn't have believed that 10 years ago, but I've come to realize that that is true.
because why that question stays to be important is from students from a remote location, they're always frightened to go study in a better institution, thinking language is a great barrier. Because how we'll communicate, how we'll go ahead without knowing proper language, how can we go communicate, how we'll get better education. So somewhere in the category of barriers from people from remote location, language is one among that.
Yeah.
That is why.
But society likes to do that, right? So society likes to say that, oh, if you speak this language, you're better. Or if you do this activity, you're better. Or if you're an engineer, you're better. But really, everybody is unique. Everybody does their own thing. So there are many brilliant institutions that might not be known as brilliant. And there might be some brilliant students sitting in institutions that are not that brilliant, but they're doing just fine. They're doing very well. And then there might be some not so brilliant students sitting in a brilliant institution and going nowhere. So I think it's much more important than where you're sitting is how you're responding and how you're thinking about what you're doing, But yes, you don't want a country where people are uncomfortable because they can't speak a language, or because they are speaking a particular language, or because they believe in something and they don't believe in something else. You want a nation where everybody is comfortable, everybody can aspire, everybody can want to do whatever they want to do. She wants to do cutlery, she should be allowed to do cutlery. Tomorrow, if she says, I don't want to do cutlery and she wants to do something else, should be allowed. But in our country, there's quite a lot of rigidities. So society will say being an engineer is good. Nobody's actually experienced what being an engineer is like, but they've already decided that that's good. Being a doctor is excellent. Being a cook is not so good, according to our society. But if you're passionate about it, that's the best thing for you, right? So I'm a person who believes that all our students are unique. None of you in this room are the same, which means that you should have a unique path. You should be allowed to choose whatever you want to do. I'm not saying that, don't listen to anybody. You listen to everybody, and then in the end, you have to decide for yourself. If you like being a cook, you like being a runner, you like being a musician, you like dancing, you like doing cutlery, you should do it.
Great insight. It will motivate a lot of students.
No, because society is always telling you, there's a competition, you all have to compete, you all have to become engineers, you all have to become doctors, and then afterwards you're miserable. Because maybe you didn't want to become a doctor. Maybe you wanted to play football, or maybe you wanted to do something else. So that pressure, you should resist that pressure. You should say, I'm an individual person. I'm going to make my decision what I want to do with respect to everybody. But if I'm passionate about that, then I want to do that.
Great, thank you. Yeah, give a big hands, because that will motivate a lot of us, obviously.
But you agree with what I'm saying?
Yes.
You agree with it, right? How many of you feel that you're forced to do things from a job perspective that you may not want to do? Right? You don't have to be shy. Lift it properly. Yeah. So there are people. There you are. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great insight. See, they are picking from that. It will
Yeah.
be a big motivation actually. So coming
Because
to
eventually you'll only be good at something that you like doing. If you don't like doing it, you will not be good at it. So it's much better to choose what you like doing and then do it.
exactly,
Yeah.
that is
But
so much true.
I have a question there because even then, pursuing what you like, it's a privilege. In our country, let's say you're the only son, or let's say you're one of two children in your household. Maybe you're not so financially privileged. What if they need this child to do this job to live a dignified life? What if they don't have the freedom to go somewhere else, find out them, discover themselves? Have that freedom, have that safety net.
Yeah, so even if, regardless of what you're doing, you still have the ability to engage in it in whichever way you want. You will decide that, right? So that freedom you will always have. And human beings, especially young human beings, are very, very imaginative and very powerful, right? So obviously everybody operates in constraints. Person who maybe doesn't have electricity in house, you might say, well, he doesn't have electricity in his house, so he can't possibly study. How's he going to compete with somebody who has electricity in his house? But no, there are millions of people who are like, no, actually, I don't have electricity in my house. I'll still study. I'll use a candle to study. So I don't undermine human capability, right? Of course, there are constraints, and you work with constraints, and some people work with a lot more constraints than other people, right? I was half joking when I said, this is a wonderful auditorium. In my mind, I was also thinking, wow, there are many, many kids in this country who would never be able to sit on a seat like this, right? Wouldn't have the institution to give them this auditorium. So it's our duty as people who work to build the country to make sure that those people have this type of an opportunity.
So moving to the next question, it's Jacqueline. Yep.
My name is Marian. I am a PS English student. I am very honored to talk with you. So, Abhijit, question I want to ask Abhijit is, what is not uncomfortable about Indian politics that every young people should must be aware before they get into public life?
I guess something that children should know.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to be a politician, it's an unpleasant job. It's not a pleasant job. If you want to do it seriously, and if you have certain value system, it's a very difficult job. So you should only do it if you're serious about it, and be ready that you're going to suffer quite a lot and get beaten up and pushed around. If you're doing it for the right reason. If you're doing it for the wrong reason, then it's easy. Then there's no problem. So that's the decision you have to make. Am I doing it for myself? Am I doing it for benefiting myself? Then you have one other path. And then you say, am I doing it to benefit or defend certain ideas or certain values? Then the path is completely different. One is unpleasant, difficult path, but you learn a lot and you're actually quite useful. The other one, easy path. You might not learn that much. Maybe you'll have a big house, a lot of money. So these are two paths. So you have to make a decision which one. You cannot go on one and then suddenly go on the other. If you go on this one, then that one is blocked. If you go on that one, then this one is blocked. That's really the decision. Are you thinking of joining politics? You can say no or you can say yes.
Balanced.
Balanced. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
But in my experience, when I first joined politics, the general thing that people say, right, that in politics you cannot be honest. They say it. And I refuse to believe that. So I am testing the idea that honesty is possible in politics. For me, that's interesting. That how transparent can you be? How open can you be? How honest can you be? And where are the limitations? So that is for me very interesting, and that's what I like doing. Yeah.
Because there are many young minds who really want to continue politics with their job, their further education and everything. So first we will look on to, okay, why do I want to become a politician? So first question for a youngster would be that. The answer would be the social service. But something one point will put them down from going into the politics. And that is one
No,
thing.
see, first you have to make the distinction between actively being a politician and being in politics. They're two different things. Right? So for example, the young lady who came and she did the Kalari demonstration. This was a political act. A very political act, correct? She's not a politician. But she made a particular statement here and she said, listen, our tradition and our culture is the most important thing to us. That's what you said. Otherwise, she would have, I don't know, sold lemonade or something. Right? So she came and she said, this is my tradition, this is my culture, and this is what I'm going to do. The first thing that we are going to do in this function, that's a political act. So you don't have to be a politician to do political acts. Somebody is beating up a woman on the side of the road. You don't know her. You look away and you walk off. That's not a political act. You stop and you say, hey, what are you doing? That's a political act. Right? So you don't even have to be a politician to do political action. There are many examples of it. There's a young fellow who came and met me recently who saved an older Muslim gentleman. Right? These people were attacking the Muslim gentleman in Uttarakhand and he saved them. He's not a politician. But that's a fantastic political act. That I will not allow you to do this in my country. Right? So you have to start thinking not just that I'm a politician. You have to start thinking, okay, am I acting politically? This is a completely different thing. And everybody can act politically. In fact, you act politically all the time in your life. You see somebody getting bullied for no reason, or you see a poor person being treated badly, you can just look the other way and walk off and say, not my business, not a political act. Or you can say, wait a minute, why did you do that? That's a political act.
Moving to the next question, it's Nimisha. Yeah, Nimisha, it's your turn for putting forward your question.
Hi, Rahulji. My name is Nimisha Helen. I'm from Media Studies Department, first year student. Actually, I'm coming from Thiruvananthapuram. Today, I'm talking to you a serious question. Recently, there is a growing concern that cinema and popular culture are sometimes used to construct a negative narratives about certain states. As seen in the debates around film likes, for example, Kerala Story, do you think cinema is increasingly being used as a political propaganda tool to shape public perception about a region or communities in India.
Well, the good news is that Kerala stories, the halls seem to be empty and nobody's really watching it. And it shows you that there are people, the majority of this country have an understanding of what's what, have an understanding of what Kerala is and Kerala's traditions and cultures. But you're absolutely correct. Movies, TV, media has been weaponized. And it is being used precisely for that purpose, to vilify people, to alienate people, to create division in society, so that certain people can benefit and other people are harmed. And I think India has actually become very much like that. You know, if a person wants to make a particular type of movie, wants to say something in the media, wants to defend certain ideas in the media, I face this all the time. He will be attacked and he will not be allowed to speak. Whereas certain other ideas, you can, spread them, propagate them as much as you want, nothing will happen to you. So yes, this is extremely damaging for the country, and it is happening. It's happening a lot, and large amounts of money are being used to do this in India.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rahulji. One question is, it's curious about you. What kind of books, movies, or hobbies do you enjoy the most?
Books, movies and hobbies.
Yes.
I go through phases. I read quite a lot. And I read, I'll get interested in one subject. And then I'll read a lot around that subject. I'll try and understand that subject. And then I'll move on. So I read not an individual book, but I'll read a set of books. Suppose I get interested in, I don't know, military history. Then I will suddenly start reading a lot of books about war, military history, combat, etc., etc. So I do it like that. Movies, I don't watch much. Somehow these days I'm not interested that much in watching movies. I used to watch more earlier. And hobbies, I like playing chess. I do martial arts. I swim, I run, I do exercise. So I like to keep myself reasonably fit. What do you do? What hobbies do you do?
I like crafting, photography, reading.
Okay, I do a little bit of photography. Actually, now that I thought about it, I think one of my hobbies is understanding people. Like I listen carefully, and I like to listen carefully to what they're saying, try to understand what exactly is disturbing them. So I listen now much more carefully and accurately than I used to listen. Earlier I was like, okay, this is what I think I'm going to tell you. Now I'm like, that's not so important. What is important is, what are you trying to say? Why are you saying it like that? Like, for example, you said, I'll ask you a serious question. Then I'm waiting for the non-serious question. So inside people's words, there's a lot of stuff that is hidden. So I like to look at that. That's really my job. My job is understanding and listening to people.
Thank you.
And I guess because we are on pop culture theme,
I guess because?
because we are talking about pop culture, movies, books, and etc., I'm sure the audience also wants to know, does Rahul Gandhi watch anime? K-drama,
I-
anything of that sort?
I used to.
You used to.
I used to watch a little bit, but not lately.
Can I ask which one?
Akira. Yeah.
A man of taste, ladies and gentlemen.
I like Akira. Have you seen Akira? Yeah, it's an old anime.
And what about video games?
What about?
Video games?
You know, I have a group of friends and we play FIFA.
I guess no one saw that coming.
Yeah,
Rahul
yeah, we
Gandhi
play
playing
FIFA. We have a very competitive FIFA game. 2-on-2. Yeah.
So what really interested you when you were a teenager, when you were our age? Okay, you're now an individual, you're, I guess, in your middle ages right now. So what were you interested in when you were young?
I was just curious. I want to know why things are like this and not like that. And I would never take an answer at face value. So if I asked you something and you answered it and I wasn't happy, then I'd say, no. Tell me, explain why. So in school, I used to get into a lot of trouble. You know, the